Back in March, you signed with Collision Records. How is being a part of such a diverse and talented group of artists kind of help you grow as both an artist and a person?
Yeah, man, it's amazing, bro. It's for as talent wise, um, it always continues to keep you growing, growing and elevating. And as an artist, that's one of the top things that you want to do. So I think the diversity is good because you're able to learn. The talent level is supreme, so you're able to grow. But then also, what I bring to the table is respected as well. So it's great. So like working with Swoop on my album, for example, it was everything I could have thought it was. You know what I mean? I got some stuff in my head and in my heart, and I can tell him that, and he's turn it into music. So it was pretty amazing, man.
What do you think you bring to the table with Collision, they've established themselves as one of the top tier record labels in Christian hip hop? What do you think you bring to that table?
Yeah, man. Well, I know. So I know for me personally, it's kind of a edge. It's kind of this like passionate, energetic edge hood life type of feel to my music, extremely southern. And so I feel like that is what one of the things that I bring. You got cats like Dre and Alex, who from the south as well. And especially like Dre talks about a lot of the same stuff I talk about. But his is a more, in the cut, a chill to it, you know what I'm saying? But a respect level as well. Mine is more, over the top, you know what I mean? And a lot of energy. So I think that kind of blends well when we all find our roles.
You're also a part of the Frontline movement, which is
Yeah.
mainly you and Reconcile. For those who don't know, can you kind of go in and explain what that is?
Yeah, man. Frontline movement, man. It's a way of life. It's a label, but it's also a way of life, man. Me and Rick met back in like 2010. Started Frontline, and the whole thing with Frontline is, we just happen to rap. We live life, and then we rap about the life that we live. So, our thing is people in ministry first, and then our music is just to continue connecting with them. So, the purpose of Frontline is to reach youth and young adults that have experienced adverse, have experienced adverse situations, come from adverse backgrounds, inner city, who we feel that they haven't seen uh, true life and living and the love that can come from the gospel. They haven't seen that in the neighborhoods that they've grown up in from the same places we're from. So we want to show that to them in a light and communicate it to them in a way that's understood in their everyday communications and the way that they speak with each other. So that's Frontline. We're giving the gospel and contextualizing it through hip hop to cats that came up rough like we did.
And you said you guys met back in 2010. How did your paths cross, and how did you guys kind of come up with this idea for Frontline?
Yeah, man. So Rick is from Florida, but he came to Houston to play football. And so he played football for Rice University here in Houston. And so when he came to Houston, he was trying to figure out, who was who, what was what. So at that time, I had just really started doing Christian hip hop. I did regular before that. I just kind of started Christian hip hop. One of the OGs in Houston, Von One, he linked up with Rick and then linked me and Rick up. So man, me and Rick talked. We met at this event that they was having at Rice. And bro, we talked in the parking lot for like 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? Just on where he was from, where I'm from, how we came up, what we see, what we want to change, what the goals are, what the Lord's been doing. And man, it's like we was the same people. It was like we was the exact same people. And so we was like, it just only makes sense for us to work together because we got the exact same goals. And that's why we started Frontline. You know what I'm saying? Let's be on the front lines for our communities. Let's be on the front lines for Christ. Let's be bold about it. You know what I mean? And try to show these kids a different way. And we started Frontline in 2010, man. Been running and rocking ever since. Yeah, man. I love the game, bro. Like I love the game. You know what I'm saying? I love the every aspect of um being an artist and being a musician. You know, even the parts that I don't love, I love because it's a part of the entire package. So even if it's driving or it's the hotels or if it's having to stop and get food here or the setup or breakdown at a show, it may not be glamorous, but I'm like, man, this is the Lord is really allowing me to live a dream, that I had once and it's coming to the forefront. And so I love touring. Performing is my favorite. You know what I'm saying? I really love writing music, you know what I mean, and rapping, but I love performing because you can touch the people, you can talk to them, you hear their stories and the whole nine. So I love the road, man. The only thing that I don't love about the road is, of course, I'm away from my wife. You know what I'm saying? So, that's never gonna be the easiest thing. But we gotta understand that we own it together. So that's the only drawback. Of course, you're gonna have just the little stuff of just driving for hours and stuff like that, but that's just part of the game, man. So I'm excited to get back on the road next month with the fellas, man, and meet people, talk to them, touch them, and hear the stories behind the music.
Just for people who may not have heard of you or heard of your music before, could you just give kind of a I know this is a big question, but like a brief testimony as to kind of how you ended up and how you became who you are today?
Yeah. So I try to I'm a just try to make it real short, and then you tell me if you want me to expand on it. But yeah, man. So I came from Houston. Me and my cousins, when we was like 12 years old, my cousins like, hey man, let's be rappers. We gonna make this hit, send it in to the Universal Records, and we gonna be millionaires. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. You know what I mean? I'm down. So, we jumped on the porch with the little recorder, started making music. And then I fell in love with it, started writing music and started realizing stuff I didn't even know I knew about myself through writing music. Wasn't saved. I was just out there rapping like regular. Eventually when I was about 17, when I was about 17, whatever, it was when I started to understand who the Lord was. So when that started to happen, it started to change my music. I went more positive, not cursing, blah, blah, blah. And eventually to the Lord was like, nah, you're going to dedicate it completely to me or, nothing at all. So I was like, all right, bet, you know what I mean? So I started, and I probably was about, it probably was about 6 years ago is when I started saying, all right, I'm going straight just, for rap for the Lord. And I didn't even know Christian rap existed, you know what I mean? Because I didn't grow up in the church and nothing like that. So I thought I was finna have to create a genre. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to create a genre of music because this don't even exist probably. And start researching, you know what I mean, and start realizing, oh man, I found Thizzle, Crack, I found Dre Murray, I found Petty D, I found these cats that I could, kind of relate to. And I was like, all right, bet. So start grinding in the city, man. Linked up with the homies like Von One in Houston, Trey Nine in Houston, and start building just on the groundwork. The way we came up in Houston was ministry first. You know what I'm saying? So first time I jumped out and I was like, yeah, I rap. They was like, all right, bet. Go grab that mop, go, help them with the sandwiches, pull the bleachers down. So I'm like, oh, I guess this is the initiation or something, you know what I mean? And so but I started to realize like, nah, that's just how they got down. It was ministry first. And so I'm grateful to the Lord for coming up that way. So grind, man, I put out like 3 mixtapes, you know what I'm saying, before I put out my first independent Grace Love Mercy. One of them mixtapes that I recorded in my mama closet, in the closet of my mama house. 7:30 a.m. I got it to Dre Murray. And the way, I got it to him, he was the first. Dre, I always say Dre was like the first time I was ever quote unquote starstruck. Cause I was at a point in my life where I was like, man, I don't know, music is my everything. What am I gonna ever do? I can never do it. And then I heard Dre's music and I'm like, he from where I'm from. He's an amazing rapper. Man, I looked at it and I was like, it is possible. You know what I'm saying? So when I met him and realized we literally from the same neighborhood, went to the same schools, we from the same spot. And I wanted to come up and give him my music, but I didn't know how to do it. And then my homegirl looked and saw him and was like, Dre. He saw her, they saw each other, they knew each other. So she just was like, oh, this is my little bro, whatever. Gave him the mixtape. Probably like a month later, he tweeted, jamming this Corey Paul 7:30 a.m. And I was like, I made it, bro. That's it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, no higher point than this, you know? So from stuff like that, I just started building relationships. You know what I'm saying? Building relationships with Dre and building relationships with, you know, the Warriors, you know, in Austin and Thizzle in St. Louis. And me and Rick kept grinding. We was learning how to do, you know, videos. So we was putting out videos every month and the whole nine. And just grinding, bro. Eventually we did like a South by Southwest. We did one of the South by Southwest events, and it really brought a lot of light to what we was doing. You know, I don't know, maybe this was maybe like 2011 or 12 or something like that. And DJ Wado and you know, Belief and Ruslan and a lot of cats was there, and it kind of opened it up. Put out Grace Love Mercy, independent, under Frontline. It got a lot of good love. You know, it charted on Billboard. For me, anywhere on the chart was just, I ain't even thinking about that. So the fact that it charted anywhere, you know what I'm saying, was a big deal. Kept grinding, putting out music, man. And then I just got kept elevating me in my, you know, ability to rap. So, you know, facilitate relationships with Dre, jumped on the Southern Lights tour with him and Alex, and then dropped some stuff with Thizzle, did some more South by Southwests, did a Legacy conference, you know, went to Flavor Fest, and each time it would just build a little more, man. And then fast forward, you know, Alex and Dre was like, yo, what you think about Collision? You know, I was like, I think it's great. I was like, all right, man, we think this is a spot for you. You know, this, that, and the third. We talked to Adam, the head of Collision. Everybody was on board with it. So last year actually is when I signed. They announced it January of 2015, and then been grinding it, you know, ever since. Album drops December 18th of 2015, you know, and it's gonna be kind of like people trying to see what it is, you know what I'm saying? And so this is prayerfully just another first down, you know what I mean, to move the ball forward.
You know, you mentioned you grew up in Houston, and Houston's a rather big hip hop city in America. Did
Mhm.
any hip hop artists from Houston like really influence you growing up?
Yeah, man, a lot. But I don't even know if people will know them, because, you know what I'm saying, like Houston, you know, Houston was classic for like the screw music, screw culture, you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of cats in Houston, like Lil Kiki, you know, Big Pokey, you know, cats like that who I listened to, you know, that was rapping back then, Lil O, you know, Lil Flip back in the day, you know, they was rapping, and them was the ones I was like, man, this is where it's at. Of course, you know, classic like UGK, Bun B type of joint. The storytelling of Scarface. You know, I tell a lot of stories in my music. So you know, you had cats like that. That were my influence in the way that I came up in Houston. And then in addition to that was the whole No Limit and Cash Money craze when I was coming up. So, you know, that was super heavy influence on me as well.
Right now, Christian hip hop, I feel like it's kind of stuck in the middle. Like people who aren't Christian feel like it's only for Christians, and some Christians feel like it's not Christian enough. Do you think there'll ever be a point where, as a genre, they can find that like common ground to kind of widen their audience to both sides?
Oh man. I don't know, bro. Honestly, I'm not sure, because um the way that the genre was built initially, it was Christian. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know, it's like if you bring your homie to church that don't know nothing about church, and y'all going through, you know, Romans or Corinthians, and you talking about Paul and the synoptic gospel and the triune God, and you know, and it's kind of like, I don't know what none of this is. You know what I'm saying? Like it sounds like it could be great, but I don't know what it means. You know, so when you have that aspect, right? So what you do, like, you know, it's like in churches, you start a communication, you start relationships, you start talking to a person, breaking it down, ABCs, one, two, threes of the game. And then you know, you kind of build on that. And so for as Christian hip hop is concerned, when you talk about mainstream, mainstream don't, like a mainstream person, just a regular person of the world, they don't understand the crux or the heart that's behind some of the lyrics that make it so impactful. They just want a dope song. They just want something that they can jig to, or something they can dab to, or something that's gonna get them up and going. And a big part of Christian hip hop is the actual heart behind the lyrics. Even cats like Kendrick or J. Cole, who are or who are supposed to be our conscious rappers, they tell their own stories in the beginning of how they had to have a hit. You know what I'm saying? Cole always talk about how Jay-Z was like, you need a hit. You know what I'm saying? Then that other stuff will follow. And so, so can you do that as a Christian rap? Can I say, I need to just make a hit in order for them to listen, or do I just stay firm in what I'm doing? So when you talk about Christian music, you know, ideally it elevates the Christian, right? But then at the same time, it's this understanding of it should also be able to, you should be able to converse with the non-believer about the music, but then it has to be wrote a certain way. So I don't know, you know what I'm saying, is what I'm saying, if that's going to ever be if Christian rap is going to ever be just fully accepted in this midway type of understanding with mainstream. I think that a rapper, who is a Christian, but doesn't necessarily make Christian rap, but he makes music that's a projection of his beliefs, ethics, and morals. I believe that may be able to, run in that lane, but Christian music, I don't know if they'll ever fully on a commercial level accept that in general.
You mentioned earlier you got your new album coming out today, tomorrow, forever, and that's going to be released on
Yeah,
the 18th, correct?
yeah, December 18th, baby.
How excited are you to release some new music to your fans, and
Um,
what was the writing process and the creative process behind the album?
Oh man, bro, I can't explain how excited I am, bro. I'm beyond excited. Like I said when I was done, I said, man, I pray I never make y'all wait this long again for new music ever in life, bro. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta cook it slow sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's that. But the creative process, one thing it was two things. One, I was gonna be linking up with Swoop, which is a gigantic deal. Swoop's a musical genius. And so, my rap style is just so unapologetic. This is what it is. People either love Corey Paul or they don't know what Corey Paul be talking about. You know what I'm saying? And because it's a unique style. You know what I mean? So the thing is, you don't want to be the dude that's just like, rapping forever, but nobody ever like genuinely understands it. So you put this cap on yourself. And so that's the thing, sitting down with Swoop was just like, all right, let's make you the best you, but let's tell your story the best way that we can. You know what I'm saying? And so, so getting with Swoop, I wanted to broaden myself in beat selection, broaden myself with, song concepts and content. So I was thinking that way. So lyrically, I'm going to be me at the end of the day. But I was thinking, when I'm communicating this message, I want to communicate the best Corey Paul I can, not just, hey, this is what I thought, this is what I wrote. But I want to think through the conversation that I'm having with the audience. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of my thought process creatively. Delivery wise, I started not to think so much. Like as I'm writing, and thinking of flow patterns and melodies, I'm not thinking too much. Whatever I feel flow pattern wise, I want that to be the general conversation. I don't want to go, how did Migos rap? How did Rick rap? How did KB rap? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to think anything like that. I want to think, just what genuinely comes out, flow pattern wise. So it was amazing though, man. It was amazing. I think people gonna love it. Now I created it, you know what I'm saying? So, of course I would think that, but I really think people gonna hear it and be shocked. Cause it's not just the regular little ratchet Corey Paul yelling and jumping around.
You do talk about a lot your upbringing in Houston, and you can be pretty transparent about where you came from. What's the one
Yeah.
track on the album do you think you're the most transparent, the most vulnerable, the most personal?
That's a great question. Probably a song called um probably a song called Live to See Forever. Um Live to See Forever is a song. It's the last song on my album. It has a amazing singer by the name of Jordan Jones, and also it's a choir on it. And the song is basically saying we saw these things. We saw racism. We saw war. We saw peace. We saw valleys. We saw peaks. But I pray that we go on to live to see forever. And in the song, I'm just basically trying to in my verse, I'm trying to walk through my family. Like I'm rapping about my family, So when you see the drug dealer on TV, or the chick on welfare with 5 kids, or the angry young black man that think every police officer is the devil, like these my people. You know what I'm saying? Like these my people. I know him. That's my kinfolk. That's my brother. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to educate the listener to more than who that person is on the surface. Like I'm trying to get the listener to go, don't you got people in your family that be bugging? Or would you want us to just like X them out? Would you just X them out? Or would you go, man, I know how he came up. His mama and daddy got divorced. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I want you. So I'm trying to educate you on that concept, and but it's really my people, it's really my family, you know what I'm saying? And so just trying to write that in a way that you feel a responsibility when writing it, but also this artistic spin that goes with it. It's something. So yeah, man, that's probably the one.
How do you think this album as a whole differs from your previous album, Grace, Love, Mercy?
It's bigger. It's a lot bigger. When you hear the music element of it, it's growth. It's like it's like Grace Love Mercy. I was the kid on the court that hustled my butt off. You know what I'm saying? I had a good jumper, and I was passionate about the game, and so it's like, oh man, that kid can play. Coach would be like, oh, that kid can play. Well, today, tomorrow, forever. That kid has got with a coach who's done this, and so he's told me stop shooting so much. Slow your game down a little bit so it can become faster. So you can slow it down so you can see the court more. Start passing. Okay, let me teach you some plays. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same passion, the same energy, the same fire, but now it's bigger. Now, I could have killed you on the one-on-one, on Grace Love Mercy. But now we can go to the Final Four with a team, with the mindset of the music now.
Last question I got for you. For today, tomorrow, forever, after listeners listen to the album, what are kind of the emotions and feelings and thoughts you want running through their head after they finish listening to the album?
We got to do it right now. We gotta do it right. We got the second the album go off. I need to call who I was supposed to call. I need to text who I was supposed to text. I need to go and stop, smoking this or drinking that, or running through that. I need to go and get back in school. I need to go ahead and get this relationship with the Lord. What He wanted to be like right now, whatever it is. Like right now. The album asks a question: what if today was tomorrow, and tomorrow was forever? How would you live? Right? So when you work that question backwards, it just basically says that like your today is your forever, right? So like a crass way of saying it was like take a snapshot of what you did today, and then you would do that every day for the rest of your life. What would you do today, right? Everybody would get up, they would eat the best breakfast, they work out, they read their Bible, they'll love their family. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to duplicate that day, and so what I'm saying is, ultimately, what we're doing today affects our tomorrow. and then tomorrow is the next day, and so forth and so on down the line. And as a believer, the ultimate to that is, if I understand who the Lord is today, I'm saved today, tomorrow, and forever. I live eternity forever. If I ignore the Lord today and I ignore him tomorrow, then I will be ignored forever. You know what I'm saying? So it's this urgency to do something right now and not just kind of wait and see, maybe next week. So that's what I would want them to do, man. I want them to be encouraged, motivated, and passionate about making a change that the Lord would lead them to make right now.
Click down with my dog. We gon' tear this thing up. 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 We gon' tear this thing.